Hey everybody. Because I am unable to take teachers on or teacher leaders on a technology walk or a learning walk because we're social distancing, we only have 8 students in the building. It's China, and it's the year of COVID. What I thought I would do is I would talk a little bit about what would happen if, actually, one of the things, so this makes sense in context, I'm going to be leading the DP evaluation and verification process at my school, and that's happening this year. And also going back to the levels of technology integration that I introduced a lot of people to, or at least one person to, in another thread. I'd like to talk a little bit about where, and those links are in this post. I'd like to talk a little bit about where I see our school and going through those, and I won't go over all of them, I would see us as hovering between level one, which is entry level, and level two, which is adoption. And that's because level one is just getting its entry. So it's getting used to technology, it's using technology in the classroom in a basic way. Then adoption is adopting technology to accomplish tasks that you would normally accomplish in a classroom. So we're way, way, way far away from authentic transformation because that's really what you're aiming for. If you want to go all the way up the ladder with LoTi, then you would eventually want to have authentic, really authentic assignments. I mean, like literally, it's not you're publishing for a school newspaper. Oh, that's pretty good, or you're simulating a publication. Right? Hey, we're going to be journalists in the history class. You are literally publishing things in magazines. You are getting your word out. You are using the broader world as your actual audience, which obviously we can see the benefits of that when you're transitioning from school to real life, right? You know what John Dewey said about education, it's not preparation for future life, it is the process of living itself. That's all caught up in that. But we're nowhere near that. And the reason is our school has a lot of concerns about non-compliance, about control of the students, direction. There are laws that we have to follow in China, for example. But we also have a lot of behavioral problems. We have a lot of maturity and responsibility problems. I've mentioned this in several other descriptions where I really see the need for democratic schooling at our school, but that is not the main goal of the school. The main goal of the school is test scores and getting students into college. It makes sense. That's what the parents want, and they pay for it. So there's very little incentive or momentum for pushing up that ladder of authenticity and authentic assignments. So if we walk around my building, we're going to see a bunch of kids on laptops. Most of them have Macs, but you'll see no students on their phones, which is something in my classrooms. I allow students to use the phones for a number of things: taking pictures of the screen, the slides, anything else going on in the classroom, recording things constantly, memorize, just like apps that help learning, constantly on them because that is a part of the learning process. Hey, if you're done with your work, you get on memorize, and like a lot of different things. Like I like it when they Instagram the classroom, right? And a lot of the students have Sinstas. I don't know if you know what Sinstas are. A Tinsta is a teacher Instagram. It's your fake life as a teacher, as opposed to your your raunchy real Instagram. But that's what they call that. And then my students, I don't know if it's widespread, but came up with Sinstas because they didn't want to be embarrassed about taking pictures of their classroom. So they would make a Sinsta and send that out and have a much much more narrow audience for what goes on their Sinsta than their real Insta. And I don't want to know what goes on their real Insta. But anyway, so the authenticity piece is missing from our school. There's not a community need for it. There's a perceived need amongst some teachers, but we don't have the momentum yet. And so the way that's looking at it from the LoTi perspective, that's one of the things that we would see. We'd see tightly controlled classrooms, guided classrooms, many rules on the walls about technology use. There is not a sense of freedom in the use of technology. Okay, I'm babbling on now, so let me get to the next thing. And I would see that as impacting the new IB standards and practices for 2020. What a couple of things that they're looking for, right? So under practices in two areas. One, there is IB kind of still dances around the idea of authenticity. They talk about global and local challenges, and they talk about student choice, right? But those are two clear guidelines, and I think they speak enough to the authenticity of work, but also the choice in the use of tools for us to not quite meet those requirements unless we're given a lot of leeway by what student choice means. So students will they will take charge of their own learning, and teachers will provide opportunities for them. That's under the new practices under for DP level. And the other one is students will have choice in their learning and the tools that they use, etc. And those are two clear bullet points that I think that if we're going to convince a DP consultant that we are meeting those requirements and those standards, we're going to have to do a lot of articulating, a little bit of dancing, and we're going to have to ask for a lot of understanding on their part. Whereas it could be that we start moving towards that authenticity and just meet the standard ourselves. Okay? So, sorry I couldn't take you on an actual walk, but that's my reflection on what a walk might show you and why it would show you that.